you step out of the comfort zone and just do it, then everybody gets to watch you being you, and they get to watch you being how they wish they were on camera. And
Yeah.
it's that authenticity shines through, and that's all the people that I enjoy watching or listening to on YouTube, whatever platform, they're authentic and they are who they are for good or bad, and that's what makes them successful.
Welcome to Denny Talks, a guiding conversation to living life to the fullest. Join us for inspiring discussions on entrepreneurship, small business tips, and seizing the opportunities. Subscribe now for concise, motivating episodes that encourage you to chase your dreams, where we believe that life, dreams, and opportunities collide. Hey, Matt, welcome to Denny Talks podcast. I'm excited to have you a part of our podcast today. Can you please tell our audience who you are and where they can follow you on social world?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for the opportunity to come on. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Matt Sherwood. I'm one of the owners of NextHome Professionals in McAlester, Oklahoma. We're a real estate brokerage, full service real estate brokerage. Been open for just a little over a year now at this point. And I'm primarily on Facebook. So search Matt Sherwood on Facebook, pretty easy to find on there. Also on Instagram too, but I don't like that as much. So stick to Facebook.
Awesome. Everybody has like a preferred platform, so it's interesting to hear like which one is your cup of tea. Tell me a little bit about your journey into real estate and kind of like what led you to this opportunity.
Absolutely. So I have to go way back. So my parents actually got into real estate in the early 2000s, so over 20 years ago. So I kind of grew up with them doing flip properties and investment properties and rentals. And my parents and my dad in particular is kind of that entrepreneurial spirit too. So I mean, he's had tons of businesses up and down over the last 30 or 40 years. So that's where I get it from. So that's kind of my original start in real estate. And then um, from there, I went to military law enforcement. I was actually in the government work for about 15, 17 years in that ballpark. And then this little tiny thing called COVID happened and completely turned a lot of people's lives upside down. And then was like, you know what? I've always been in real estate. I've always had a passion for it. Let's try that and see if it works. And here we are a couple years later.
Okay, there we go. I think that is a lot of people's stories is that 2020 era is when a lot of things like flipped and people were required to pivot or it gave them a permission to pivot. So that's interesting to hear. Yours is similar to a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was one of the best things that come from that is a lot of people. It really opened the career opportunities and the things that we can do differently.
Yeah. Real estate is one of those avenues where I see a lot of it. A lot of real estate agents and entities are really successful because they have adopted the mindset of being a part of the community. So, can you talk to me a little bit about how you see yourself as a real estate agent or just anybody who is wanting to build a brand within their community and how that's going to be beneficial to use their surroundings?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think your sphere around you and your community is the biggest thing and the best place to start. So a lot of times, especially in the information age that we live in, so I mean, we're constantly inundated with like, let's try this new shiny thing. I call it shiny object syndrome. And the truth is, for most business owners, including real estate agents, and I fall into the trap all the time of shiny object syndrome, but is to just focus on your sphere, the people closest to you, your community, your church, and there's enough clients there to make you successful, and then to get the snowball rolling downhill.
Yeah.
And I really think that the more we grow, the more we want to pour back into our community, and then it just snowballs from there.
Well, is there any unique challenges that you've faced as a realtor since opening up like to your local community and how have you overcome them?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest challenges for me personally is I've I've had a little distaste in my mouth at the way the industry as a whole operates, and primarily to the real estate agent. So it's really set up for the people at the top to do better than the people that are actually on the ground working. And it's been treated as kind of a um, passive industry for a long time, and the professional side of it has kind of been taken away. So that was really my journey, is I wanted to bring professionalism back into this industry. I think there was a poll done that had real estate agents just under politicians on people you trust. So
Mm.
it was like that was where I was like, okay, we've got to change this because there are a lot of great realtors, a lot of great real estate agents, a lot of great people in this business, but because they weren't trained well or they were in an industry that failed them, they didn't get started on the right foot. So that's really where my passion is just wanting to help people grow and know that this is sustainable and you can grow a business. And it's one of the easiest businesses to get into. And literally, an agent can get their license and they truly are starting their own business.
Mhm.
And I want to help them cultivate their own business and grow that to success so that they know this something is achievable. And then the community side will grow from there because then you'll want to start doing community events and pouring into the community. And we have Luke Day coming up June 19th. And that's the day where all of the offices across the entire country, 600 offices, shut their doors and do something within the community and give back on that day. So NextHome in general is really community involved. So that's something that's really nice.
That's awesome. Well, and one of the real estate agents that I follow from your firm is Miss Kelly Wall. And what I love about her page is she's doing just exactly what you had explained, is really just changing the way that you view like a real estate agent. She popped up. I mean, I know her in person, but she popped up on my TikTok page because she's real big on that TikTok. And it's so fun to see her connect because sometimes she's talking about actual real estate, but then other times she's like hanging out with like her grandkids. They're like climbing on a jungle gym around her. And it's just like you said, it's breaking down that barrier to really understand that real estate agents or just anybody behind a business is a human. And I think that's so important for people to be able to connect. I'm like, oh, I can connect with Kelly. She's more trustworthy to me now that I see her outside of just trying to sell me a house. And I think of her, one, because I just enjoy her content, but then also she's educating me, she's giving me engaging content, and then I can think of her in order to sell a house. So I think that's all right around that branding and community.
Yeah, I think so too. And you're right. Kelly has done such a good job on all the platforms. She does like TikToks and stuff that I can't even that makes me uncomfortable. So she really does an amazing job. And it's so refreshing to see somebody that is like you on there. And it's one of the things that I think a lot of people struggle with to just get started on social media is there's things that you want to say or do, but you're concerned with your hair or how you look, or am I going to say the right things, or am I going to say ums and ands and mess the whole thing up? So you're like, you know what, I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
And when you step out of the comfort zone and just do it, then everybody gets to watch you being you, and they get to watch you being how they wish they were on camera. And
Yeah.
it's that authenticity shines through. And that's all the people that I enjoy watching or listening to on YouTube, whatever platform, they're authentic and they are who they are for good or bad. And that's what makes them successful.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your kind words on that too. So Matt, you were talking about how you are one of the owners of this brokerage firm. So being a leader, you are now in charge not only for yourself of owning your side of the business, but then you're also become a leader and showing up this vision for your whole firm. Can you talk to me about some maybe just some tips and tricks for people who are first time leaders within their small business and what can you give out to us?
So I think leadership is probably, if not the single most important thing in running a business, in my opinion, hands down, bar none. I think a true leader will make or break the organization or military or whatever it is. And I'm going to steal a kind of a play from Jocko Willink on this is just extreme ownership and accountability. I think is the number one thing that I could say is no matter what happens within your organization or within your team, if something goes wrong, you as the leader is at fault. And if that message wasn't conveyed well or whatever it is, it all comes back to you as the leader. And then when you can accept that humility and that leadership, everything else will run so much smoother.
That's true. Right, exactly. And like you said, that being authentic and showing up just who you are, either whether that's going to be online, but then also in your office, the people who are looking up to you, they are going to resonate with you and understand that you yourself are human and you might make mistakes, but we're all in this together. And I think that makes you even more trustworthy, even if you've made like a mistake. And falls, like you said, all on your shoulders, but you can also rise from that too.
Yes, absolutely. And we're all going to make mistakes. So that's part of the fun of the journey, um, rolling with the punches.
That's true. Business trip is definitely it's for some and not for all. It's definitely a tough business to be a part of.
It definitely is. It definitely is.
Yeah. So being a part of your community, being a leader, and and using technology, what is kind of a newfound thing for a lot of people to start understanding how to utilize technology to build their brand or their business. And when I think of real estate, I think of like flyers, business cards. I think of billboards of people's faces that says like, "Call me if you want to sell your house." Can you tell me what kind of ways that you're using technology or different platforms in order to grow your business?
Yeah. So I think to answer your question directly, it's outbound prospecting is probably my main lead pillar. And there's only a few lead pillars that all look a little bit different in business, but ultimately across whatever businesses all look the same. So for me, it's outbound prospecting. That's where I got started in, and that's what I'm the most comfortable in.
Okay.
Uh, and I think toeing the line between lead generation on the outbound versus the marketing, I think that's where the split is when you start getting into social media. I think on the marketing side and overall long-term business growth, I think social media is where it's at. Posting 2 to 3 or 4 times a day, or as much as you can on different platforms, will see a huge increase in your business pretty consistently. But I also know that that's super uncomfortable for a lot of people. So, and it was uncomfortable for me, and it still is. It's still my least favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
So, to me, being on the phones and just outbound reach to people, cold emails, warm emails, those are to me the pillars that I'm most confident in.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I'm glad that you had acknowledged that because, like you said, it's not for everybody and it is a commitment type of thing in order to get out of your comfort zone in order to do that. But to me, I feel like real estate agents, they can just like talk to anybody. I feel like you guys have this like superhuman power.
The good ones do for sure. I'm
Sure.
still trying to acquire that skill. It definitely, it's
But
definitely an acquired skill.
I really love part of your within your office. One thing I love following on your Facebook page is that you guys you'll do things a little bit different. So this might be helpful for some people who might be just not really excited about getting their face onto camera. Would be that one thing that your office does is you guys will have like little competitions with each other, and it's not always like showing your face. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do within your office that's a different take on using media?
Yeah, so we just started. How that kind of started is we just kind of had office wars, and it really wasn't even meant to like be anything. It was just fun of who got to the office first, and then everybody just started joining in and participating, and then it just became this fun thing that we all done. And then I think it helped us realize that we all don't have to be like each other. Some
Mhm.
people make well scripting out what they want to say on video and being really strict about it, and some people might just be like Tracy and just be able to just go off the wall and just have fun, and that's okay. And everybody does their own thing that works for them, and you're going to get your clients and your customers that gravitate to you because they see a part of them in you. And we're not all meant to work with everybody, and that's also okay. And you'll kind of grow to where you want to grow. And I think that's the fun that we've had within the office is just everybody getting to kind of do their own thing on social, and then
Mhm.
it's helped the office collectively of challenging each other and going, oh well, I see Kelly doing something, so now I've got to go do something. So and it just grows from there.
Yeah, it keeps everybody accountable and encouraged. That's
Yes,
fun.
for sure.
So I one thing I want to kind of touch on is that when I think of like real estate in particular, but a lot of businesses feels like a really saturated market. And so what is one thing that you can offer to our listeners that would help us see that, even if there's a million other real estate agents, how do you stand out? What keeps you going despite knowing that you have competition right next door?
I don't think there is enough houses to sell in the entire country. We could use a lot more real estate agents, and every real estate agent will be set apart based on their skill level. So 92% of all of the realtors in the entire country did less than 2 transactions last year. So that means 8% of all the real estate agents are doing 95% of the deals. So there may be a lot of people doing it, and that goes across any business. There may be a lot of people in one industry, but there are only a few that are really doing a good job in setting themselves apart. So that piece of the pie is still there to get all of the time. And if you just put in the work and you're consistent, the people will come to you, and the work will be there, and the income and the success will be there. So I don't think, I mean, I think real estate is a very saturated market as far as agents, but it hasn't slowed us down one bit in any way. That never was a barrier of entry for me. That thought never even crossed my mind.
Mhm.
So to me, I never even thought about it. It was like, well, I'm just going to go be successful. And if there's a lot of people, that's great. I want everybody to be successful. There's plenty of houses for us all to sell. So I don't think that's a barrier of entry. And I think if that's somebody's hold up on getting started, just put that thought out of your mind and just do it. Just get started. It's getting up in the morning and getting your shoes on. And I'm sure you could attest to this. Sometimes it's harder than actually doing the workout. It's
Mhm.
just getting started. And I think that's a lot in business too, is just get started, and the rest will take care of itself.
Yeah, that's wonderful advice. And that is very true for, like you said, that can be applied for more than just real estate agents. It's all a life lesson, right, in of itself. Appreciate
Yes.
that. Well, is
Yes.
there anything that you would like to leave our listeners with as before we part?
Yeah, so I mean, I would just like to say, if anyone is considering real estate or any other business, entrepreneurship or whatever it is, just do it. I think it's one of the most challenging things. It's one of the most stressful things. We've all shed a tear and had the bad times in entrepreneurship, but it is truly freeing and truly amazing once you get into it. And I don't think I think we have to weigh the wealth of it outside of monetary gain. There's so much to be gained in entrepreneurship outside of the dollars in your bank account.
Mhm.
And that could be the relationships with your family or your friends or your community that you couldn't do anywhere else. So my advice would be just do it. Just try it. If you fail, great, try again and just keep going until something finally sticks.
Yeah. Yep. And like you said, there's entrepreneurship is a vast uh, slew of things. You can be a real estate agent. You can own your own business of retail, online, be a coach of some sort. So there's something for everybody if you've got the dedication and, like you said, that consistency to go along with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So before we go, there's one more question that we always ask our audience is, or ask our guests is, what opportunity arose for you that kind of prompted you to pursue the entrepreneur venture?
So I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. I always knew that I wanted to start a business, and this is actually like my fourth business, the first one that's been successful.
Okay.
So I just kind of jumped in and felt along the way. But I'm always drawn towards the freedom of entrepreneurship. I just always wanted to do something for myself, for my family, without having somebody over the top of me with a level of control. So that's really what drew me into it, and I think that's what draws a lot of entrepreneurs into it. And I think we live in a day and age right now where there's going to be more and more people that gravitate towards business ownership, and I'm excited to see it.
Excellent. And you have a lot of great tips and tricks for us to understand just how to be successful. So I appreciate your time today, Matt. And is there one more place where you tell us where we can follow you and understand a little bit more about your guidance?
Yeah, so Facebook's the easiest way. Matt Sherwood. I'm got the blue check on there. I'm all fancy on there, so I'm easy to find. That's the best place to find me and get a hold of me there.
Awesome. And then if you are tuning in with the video portion of our interview, you also see behind him, he's got Next Home. So he's a part of that Next Home professional real estate.
Yes, give us a call. We're always happy to help anything we can. Full service real estate, whether it's just a question or needing to sell a home, we're always happy to help.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much for your time, and we will talk with you soon.
Absolutely. Pleasure was mine. Thank you.